Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'd like to call the meeting to order. Mr. Clerk, would you please take roll call?
Dave Abdallah?
Here.
Bill Bazzi?
Here.
Robert Constant?
Here.
Lisa Hicks Clayton?
Here.
Denise Malinowski Maxwell?
Here.
Ray Muscat?
Here.
Tom Wenzel?
Here.
Madam Chair, we have a quorum.
Thank you. I'd like to have Latifa Shihab lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance tonight.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, for liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Please be seated. Next item we have on the agenda is the agenda approval.
Madam Chair.
Councilwoman Hicks Clayton.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I move to approve order of business April 9th, 2019, regular meeting of Dearborn Heights City Council as presented.
Support.
Support by Councilman Abdallah. Is there any questions? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? The ayes have it. Next, we have approval of minutes. This is the minutes from the regular meeting of March 26, 2019.
Madam Chair,
Councilman Abdallah?
I move that we approve the minutes from March 26, 2019 regular meeting of the Dearborn Heights City Council as outlined in item 4A.
Support.
Support by Councilwoman Hicks Clayton. Is there any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? The ayes have it. Next item on the agenda is public hearing and comment on agenda items only. You have a 2-minute limit. We need you to state your name and your address, and please step to the microphone.
Hello, my name is Hassan Shami. Address is 658 Centralia, Dearborn Heights, Michigan, 48127. So I'm here to speak to you guys about the agenda 9D. It's the Ramadan Suhoor Festival. I am the organizer and the founder of the Ramadan Suhoor Festival. Ramadan is the month in the holy calendar where Muslims fast from sunrise to sunset. A suhoor is the actual meal that they eat, the last meal they eat before their next day of fast. Over the last several years, I'm sure many of you guys are familiar with all the tents and the food trucks that have been up and down Ford Road on the corners, in parking lots and gas stations. The Ramadan Suhoor Festival will serve as a solution to this, where we're going to centralize all of these tents and vendors in one area. Ali Sayed, the founder of Hype, has generously given me his property to host the festival. We're going to have 25 food vendors, all which either their businesses are in Dearborn Heights or they reside in Dearborn Heights. We have 300 parking spots. We've hired a professional parking team to assist with the transition of the cars coming in and out. I've also hired a private security team that will be armed to protect our guests. Majority of this festival is going to be young adults and teens, so we're trying to capitalize on this and have booths for substance abuse, different organizations for volunteers, and a booth for voter registration to make sure everyone's up to date. It is a place to serve as a platform where we can celebrate religious diversity. Although it is the Ramadan Suhoor Festival, it is not a Muslim-only festival. I extend my invite to all non-Muslims in the community to come out, share great food with your neighbors, and celebrate religious diversity. I think the city of Dearborn Heights can really lead by example in celebrating religious diversity and creating unity within the community. Do you guys have any questions?
Council Chair?
We don't ask questions.
I know but can you just tell them the correct dates?
Oh, right. I'm gonna correct it. I already got
The
them.
dates and the times.
No, I got it. I'm gonna do that.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thanks.
Everything else good?
Yes.
All right, thank you.
If I might, thank you for taking on this project. We're looking forward to it.
Thank you.
Okay. Any other?
Gary Mayanke, Plainfield Street, Corporation Counsel for the City of Dearborn Heights.
I don't know, are you representing the city today or speaking as a resident today? Because we're being charged attorney fees.
Much less than $250 per hour, but yes, indeed, this is as Corporation Counsel. This is to make sure that I do my due diligence to make sure that things are understood with respect to these particular items. Okay, my comments pertain to agenda items 9A and 9B. These items would attempt to appoint the law firm of Ott West Wheel and Shank PLC as a general legal advisor to the City Council. I'll refer to this law firm as Mr. Shank's Law Firm. However, if adopted, these items would violate Section 5.13 of the City Charter and are otherwise contrary to law. This is true for the following reasons. Section 5.13 of the City Charter governs the Office of Corporation Counsel. Among many other things, it makes the Corporation Counsel the legal advisor to the mayor, the City Council, and each and every one of the several departments, commissions, boards, administrative offices, and agencies of the city. Section 5.13 of the City Charter also governs how legal advisors serving the city are appointed. It provides for the appointment of the Corporation Counsel, assistant Corporation Counsels, and special legal counsel, which have sometimes been referred to as special Corporation Counsel. These are to act to assist me as being of counsel to me in legal matters. Notably, this charter section does not provide for any designated general legal counsel to the City Council. The Michigan Supreme Court addressed an attempt similar to those set forth in agenda items 9A and 9B to appoint legal counsel by the City of Flint Board of Hospital Managers in the case of Flint versus Board of Hospital Managers. Relying on Flint City Charter provisions similar to those of the Dearborn Heights City Charter that I referred to previously, the Michigan Supreme Court rejected the attempt by the Board of Hospital Managers of the City of Flint to employ its own legal counsel because the duty to advise the boards was vested in the Flint City Attorney by the Flint City Charter. Given City Charter Section 5.13, the same reasoning applies to this attempt to appoint Mr. Shank's law firm as general legal advisor to the City Council. Importantly, the Michigan
Time's up. Thank you. 2 minutes is up.
From our own Corporation Counsel.
He's speaking as a resident today.
Okay, any other public hearings and comments on agenda items? Limit it to 2 minutes, please. Okay, are you as a resident or employee?
Sure, I'll be a resident.
Okay, you're wearing your employee badge.
Okay.
Thank you.
As a resident, I'm asking to donate my 2 minutes to Mr. Miyake. He's the Corporation Counsel.
Nope, we don't do that.
We've done it before.
Not going to do it anymore.
You're not going to do that?
Nope, from here forward, we will never do it again.
You'll never do it again?
Yep.
And you also won't give anybody more than 2 minutes ever again?
Yes.
Okay.
Unless they ask special permission. Someone did ask today for special permission and contacted me.
Well, he just asked.
He didn't ask me ahead of time.
So it has.
He didn't ask, and I'm not going to argue with you.
No, I just want to be clear.
I'm not going to argue with you.
Ma'am, I am not arguing.
If you got your 2 minutes right now.
I'm not arguing at all. I just want to be clear so if it comes up again. So if we ask ahead of time, then you'll give us permission?
Yes.
Okay, thanks.
That's why the feds are going to shut them down.
Okay. Agenda items only, 2 minutes. State your name and address.
I'm going to speak about the veto which the mayor submitted to the city council. And I'm happy that Mr. Miyake finally woke up and started reading the charter. Where was he?
No, point of order.
Okay, excuse me. We're not supposed to really, just let him say his thing. And then, because we've got the 2 minutes running here.
Okay, if that's the same rule, then we'll...
Start it over.
Okay, hold on.
I just want to relax a little bit so I don't say anything I regret. This issue of forensic audit is basically valid and needed because of many, many reasons. There is money, $1.4 million. We didn't hear anything from anybody about it, how it was spent, or where it is. I go back to October 9, 2018, when Christina Kramer sat back there and she said, this money cannot be used for salaries when Susan Todd asked. There is so much money taken from the water fund, moved to the road, then it waited for a year, it moved to the general fund. There is so much money used from restricted funds and taken and put, where the mayor can use it for cash flow. There is so much I'm going to submit to this city council about what he's doing. And I wouldn't be surprised if he leaves the city in handcuffs. Not you.
Thank you. All right. Point of order. At this point, is there any other public hearing and comment on agenda items?
Madam Chair?
Please step up to the microphone. Go ahead. State your name, address, and you have 2 minutes.
My name is Joanne Haber. I live at 5654 Roosevelt in Dearborn Heights. I am here in support of the Neo Alliance LLC car sales company that's farther down on your agenda. My family and I live in the neighborhood, and we are in support of having this business come into the neighborhood. The property is maintained. It's maintained well, and we would like that to continue as opposed to what has been on that property in the past, which has not been particularly pleasant for anybody. So I don't want to go over my 2 minutes, but there it is. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Okay, go ahead, please. 2 minutes. And
My name is Mary Wyatt, and I live at 5646 Roosevelt, and I am also for this business going in there. We had a bar there at one time, and it was a disaster. Motorcycles, we could smell rubber burning, and I just think the business looks good, and I'm for it. Thank you.
Okay, your name, address, and 2 minutes, please.
Thank you. Good evening. Amir Macklin on behalf of, and I'm talking as to item number 13B, which is the same item number that the past 2 residents spoke about. And I'm the attorney for Automania LLC. And I just wanted to give the board an opportunity to understand that my clients have applied for a business license. They've been before the ZBA, the Zone of Boarding Appeals. They've been approved for a auto dealership on Van Born. It's a new business to a dealership there. It's an existing auto detail shop that's been in business for 2 years. They have a current site plan that's being updated for landscaping, a curb appeal. They've invested some substantial funds to beautify that corridor. And they have all of the requirements, including a certificate of occupancy from the city. So this is the last step in our last pitch to get a business license in the new business item. And as other residents have spoken, it is a new investment into that Van Born district, and we'd hope that the council would approve a business license for the applicants. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else?
Madam Chair?
Okay, can you step up to the microphone, please? Are you commenting as a resident or as administrative assistant?
I'll be a resident. I'm not an administrative assistant. I'll be a resident. My name's Christina Laszlo. I live on Charlesworth. A couple people back said that I said something that I didn't say. I said a fund balance can't be used for salaries because we're talking about 9C, and somehow that jumps to the cable budget. It's not the mayor or anybody else's fault if somebody didn't read the cable budget for the past 15 years. Or read the audit for the past 15 years. And in regards to handcuffs, I think the purpose of the veto is to make sure that other people don't end up in handcuffs. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Any other comment? Okay, at this point, we're going to move on to the next item on the agenda, which is fund transfers and current claims.
Madam Chair.
Councilwoman Hicks Clayton.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Move to approve the fund transfers and current claims 6-1 through 622 as submitted.
Support by Councilman Muscat. Is there any discussion?
Madam Chair.
Councilman Abdullah.
I'd like to ask a question for DPW Director Selmy, and it's actually to most of the departments, but just want to address it with Mr. Selmy, if you don't mind. On item 620, vehicle tire and installation, I personally have a preference whenever we can to go to Dearborn Heights businesses, and I know you're newer here to the city, so I'm just curious so you may or may not know the answer. I don't know if Mr. Blackburn is here, worst case. But do you know, is there a reason as to why we went with a company outside the city? Not that it's a rule, but my personal preference is try to give business to businesses in the city if we can. Or maybe for future consideration at the very minimal.
Absolutely, certainly for future consideration, maybe a specialty tire, truck tire, heavy truck tire, maybe something the local Bell Tire or something franchise doesn't carry, but I can certainly look into that.
Yeah, I just want to say that's
give you a call back and let you know
if you don't mind.
Why that is.
Yeah, and I know you didn't start this because you're newer to the operation, so thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Councilman Bazey?
That's for DPW item, 2 items. Sorry. Item 6.8, it's a sewer cleaning. This is just a comment. I know they have CCTV inspection. 2 questions. Who's actually overlooking those inspections or looking at the tapes or the pictures to see if they've done the work? That's the first question on that item.
Well, as they bring them into them, we review them. The water supervisors and myself will look at those. That question was brought up earlier, a couple of meetings ago, that you approved a new contract with this company, but with limited pipe assessment. So in the near future here, it's going to plan to have a study session to go over that and maybe revisit that and include additional cammering of this so we can do a total assessment of the sewer system so we can develop a 5-year plan for lining and funding for this sewer system.
Okay, second item, is there a way the next invoice we can actually put a map or the location where they're doing the cleaning? I know that they have the size of the sewers, but there's no location. Can we put that on the next invoice? I mean, not today, but the next time they inspect?
Sure.
Or they clean?
If you want more detail on the invoice.
Yes, sir, if we can. Appreciate it. Second item for DPW is item 613. It says weight trim, amount $15,452. Street repair, but the actual invoice is talking about, it doesn't have anything about repair, like what, there's no location in here. Is that inspection or is that the actual road repair?
This is design engineering for an upcoming road paving project. And Dan's here if he wants to speak to it a little bit more.
So we're paying $15,000 to a company to tell us that some of our streets needs repair?
No, to actually design the plans to go out to bid to do the repairs.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Council Chair, I have a question.
Councilman Wenzel?
On these camera inspections of these sewer lines, is there any way to tell where these are taken, and so they're not just showing you pictures of a cleaned out sewer line that they have on file somewhere? Is there any way to tell?
They are address driven and manhole driven. So they'll put the street address that they start, what manhole they start in, and to the next manhole, and footages with all the tabs. So yes, it's yes. Short answer, yes.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Any other discussion? All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? The ayes have it. Next, we have consideration of bids. We have CEDD Director Hashem, FY 2015 CDBG Berwyn Improvement, Berwyn Center Kitchen Improvements.
Madam Chair.
Councilman Constant?
I move that we concur with our Economic Development Director, Joe Hashem, and approve the preparing of specifications and request bids for the Berwyn Center Kitchen Improvement Project,
Support.
as outlined in 7A.
Support by Councilman Abdullah. Is there any discussion?
Madam Chair?
Councilman Bazey?
A couple of questions on this item. So how's the bidding? Are they sending, is that going to be online bidding, or are they doing closed bids on this item? Can anybody answer that?
Yeah.
Anybody?
Well, I'm the director, so I will answer your question. This is a request to go up for RFP and to go out for bid.
Okay.
The RFPs, the DPW, along with talk to the Recreation Department, we will come up with what needs to be done. This is a request to do so. And then when we go up for RFPs, the request for proposal, when we go out for bid, that's what this is.
So are they closed bids? My question is it closed bids or is it going to be online bidding?
The regular bids, the comptroller takes care of that, so.
Okay.
So they are closed bids and they go out on bid next.
Okay, I've seen, in the past, I've gotten calls from 2 separate companies with closed bids. I'm just curious, how do we know that, I guess what I'd like to see is the raw bid sheet, not just recommended companies you guys gonna go by, because I've talked to 2 separate companies on other items that they said they presented closed bids and it was never presented and it was lesser cost than what was presented to the council. So I would like to see for this item, whatever bids come out, the actual bids come to us so we can make a decision on the council.
The chair, you can request from the comptroller to provide that for you.
Okay, I'll request that then. Thank you. Okay. Any other discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? The ayes have it. Next, we have Park and Recreation Deputy Director Constant, bid recommendation for 2 treadmills for the Richard A. Young Center.
Madam Chair,
Councilman Abdullah.
I move that we concur with Deputy Director Kim Constant, who went out for review the bid tabulations for the purchase of 2 true commercial cardio 650 treadmills, model C650 or equal, and the City Controller has certified 4 bids as follows as outlined in item 7B. And to accept the $7,000 bid provided by Strengthio Fitness, as outlined in item 7B.
Support.
Supported by Councilwoman Hicks Clayton. Is there any discussion?
Madam Chair?
Councilman Abdullah.
Just want to compliment the Deputy Director. I'm into fitness a little bit, so I did a little bit of search, and there are some pretty good prices that you got, because most of the prices that I seen were $4,000 per minimum, and to get 2 of them for $7,000, that's pretty good, so good job.
Okay, any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? The ayes have it. Next, under reports from mayor, we have the water budget.
Madam Chair.
Councilwoman Hicks Clayton.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I move to adopt the water budget and include in that a 10% decrease in the water rates as is submitted in 8A.
Support.
Supported by Councilman Muscat. Is there any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye. Discussion, a 10% decrease, in
the current water rate. So we have a motion when you're ready, Madam Chair.
Okay.
We did vote already, but you can re-vote.
Yeah, you were too late. Well, yes. Okay. All those in favor again say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed?
No.
Councilman Constant is opposed. It passes. Okay, next item on the agenda is request for vacation of alley north of Ford Road between Outer Drive and Martha Street.
Madam Chair?
Councilman Abdullah.
I move that we concur with Mayor Dan Paletko, request for vacating the alley north of Ford Road between Outer Drive and Martha Street. And at this particular point, the Assessor's Office has confirmed that the petitioners meet the 51% frontage requirement under city policy. And at this point, we are requesting that City Council set up a public hearing to hear the arguments pro or con to request this vacation as outlined in item 8B.
Support.
Supported by Councilman Constant. Is there any discussion?
Just quick, does the city clerk have a date when that public hearing would happen?
Not at this time. You could incorporate it with the council chair as to possibly at the next meeting. We can. Public hearings are usually held within the structure of the regular council meeting.
As long as there's enough time, because we haven't had vacations in a long time. I may be the only one that remembers the procedure, but I think something has to get mailed, and we have to make sure we have enough dates for the mailing. But in the past, the city clerks always gave a date, so that's, I wasn't putting you on the spot, but that's what they've done.
Okay. I would confer with the council chair and look at the procedure. I think there's some notifications that have to be done, so we will move on it as quickly as we possibly can.
I'm willing to do whatever.
Madam
Okay,
Chair?
Councilman Abdullah?
Just for clarification, Mr. Mayor, when you say mailings have to go out, I do know that there was, in the packet that I'd reviewed, there had already been signatures of adjoining residents or lots, if you want to call it. So are you referring, is it in the neighborhood? I mean, I'm just trying to get a clarification.
It's limited. It's not like, 200 feet, but it does require notification because vacation can affect
everyone.
Everyone, yeah.
Right. Okay, just
I
clarifying.
don't think there's going to be a holdup or an objection. I told the applicant, I don't know if they're here today, but we do have to follow the procedure.
And just for clarification for some of the residents that are not familiar with this particular spot of land, this is the area near Beirut by Night Restaurant at Outer Drive and Ford Road, and it's the area directly behind it where there's an alley between the business and the parking lot. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? The ayes have it. Next, we entertain a veto of resolution of the Dearborn Heights City Council to approve contract with the law firm of Ottenwest, Tawil, and Schenck PLC. At this time, Mr. Clerk, I'm going to ask you to read our city charter section 7-7.13, so everyone understands what we're doing and why we're doing it.
Section 713, the mayor shall have the power of veto of resolutions and ordinances passed by the council, provided that the said veto, with the mayor's reasons in writing, must be filed with the city clerk at least 24 hours before the date of the next regular meeting of the council, at which said meeting the clerk shall present such veto or vetoes to the council. The council may only at said meeting reconsider the vote at which such proceedings were passed and adopted, and if so elects, may only at said meeting readopt such proceedings by a 5/7 vote of all members elected, in which event the veto shall be overridden and it shall bar the right of the mayor from any future vetoes of the proposed legislation.
Okay.
Such proceedings shall then become effective on the following day succeeding such meeting of the council, and ordinances so passed shall become effective immediately thereafter upon publication. No ordinance, resolution, or other proceeding shall be published until the meeting following the meeting at which said ordinance, resolution, or proceeding was adopted.
Okay, at this time, we have reports from city officials. This includes myself, Council Chairwoman Malinowski Maxwell, and Council Pro Tem Bazey. We must, according to Charter 7.13, Section 7.13, reintroduce for possible reconsideration of approved resolution for City Council contract with the law firm of Ottenwest, Tawil, Schenck, PLC, in accordance with, again, the City Charter, Section 7-13. Okay, is there any discussion?
You gotta get a support, don't you?
Oh, yep. Okay, we need support on this?
Who made the motion?
Move to adopt.
Councilman Wenzel supports it.
She made the...
Who made the motion?
Yeah, that's fine. Move to adopt the resolution as presented in 9A, and Councilman Wenzel support.
Support. Okay, City.
Want.
All right. Chairwoman Hicks Clayton, and then we have Councilman Wenzel. Okay, any discussion?
Madam Chair?
Mayor?
The Corporation Council relayed at the last meeting and attempted at the beginning of this meeting to inform all of you it's an illegal action. I think you need to listen to the Corporation Council and not get yourselves all in trouble. The client is the city, not the city council, not the mayor, not the judges, the city. The council can only be the client if you are paying all the fees and not the city taxpayers. I want to mention about Matthew Schenck hiring because it's an insult to everybody in Dearborn Heights.
Okay, we're not going to bash anybody here. We're not going to do that.
Let me speak. When the city filed its Chapter 8 petition to get the Ecorse Creek project going, Wayne County fought the city of Dearborn Heights. In
Okay,
fact,
at this
we had to
point,
go to court.
no, this is not
Ellen
necessary. We have a motion on the table, and we're going to discuss it amongst ourselves.
Can I give you the U.S. Constitution? I have a freedom of speech.
Point of order.
Read the U.S. Constitution, Amendment number 1.
This is...
Know it.
Okay, we have a motion on the table that we're going to discuss.
This was to be a forensic audit.
Point of order.
Obviously discovered you are misleading.
Point of order, please.
I have a right to speak.
You have a right to discuss, not to make statements that are derogatory or insulting to anybody.
If you don't like them, that's your problem. But this, I have a right to speak.
Excuse me, this is a city council meeting. This is not a mayor meeting.
The mayor has a right to speak per the charter.
You have a right to participate.
That's right. Okay.
Okay, point of order, please.
Can I continue my comments?
Please.
This is unbelievable, folks. Unbelievable. You know what? After tonight's meeting, you're all invited to the Ram's Horn, and some of these members of the council are going to meet. You have no discussion. They deliberate in private in violation of the Open Meetings Act.
Council Chair.
Point of order.
Council Chair.
Point of order.
Address it.
Council Chair.
Councilman
Chair.
It's a lie.
I go to Ram's Horn.
It's a lie.
And I'm the only council person there.
That's a lie. We never had.
I don't deliberate with any other council, and Mr.
Okay,
Mr.
point
Mayor.
of order.
No,
All right.
I understand that. But you never said one thing when 4 council people used to meet at Mexican Fiesta, and you knew it.
Exactly.
Okay.
And you
all right,
never
all right.
said a word.
All right, point
No,
of
you
order.
didn't.
Let's get back on track here. We have a motion on the table.
Follow us wherever we go.
Excuse me.
In your city-owned car.
Point of order.
Accusations.
Point of order. Okay, at this point, we have a motion on the table. The mayor has requested a veto. We have to reintroduce for possible reconsideration our approved resolution from the last city council meeting to hire the law firm. At this point, is there any discussion amongst city council members?
Council Chair.
Councilman Muscat.
Now, I wasn't here at the last meeting, so I'm going to ask that this resolution, this was for a, I'm trying to get the right words to come out, to help us to go forward in a forensic audit. Am I correct?
That's correct.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, any further discussion?
Madam Chair.
Councilman Constant. Councilman Abdullah?
Well, just wanted to reiterate again, and I know we've had this discussion before, and I'll just reiterate again. I think we got to be very, very careful with the taxpayers' money moving forward, jumping right forward to a forensic audit that's going to cost, based on my current calculations, maybe $1 million, maybe $2 million. And I think it's not the right thing to do before we talk to Plant Moran first at a study session, or possibly get somebody else to talk to, but not jump right over to a forensic audit. I think we went from here to here too fast, and there's too many steps in between that we are totally skipping. And I just don't think it's in the best interest of the taxpayers to spend this type of money without checking first at this level before we go right away to the forensic audit, which I think is just way too far for what's needed. I do understand some of the council members' questions, and I would want those answers too. But I think to jump right away to a forensic audit at $250, $300 per, and not to mention employees that we're going to be paying for giving us this information, I just don't think it is at all a good idea. And I think it's going to waste way too much money, because not one of the council members that brought this forward has given us any type of indication as to the dollar figure. So without a dollar figure, we're going to jump into this and then spend who knows how much and okay it right now. It just does not make sense, honestly.
Okay, we do have a limit if you read it.
I did read it multiple times. You have $35,000 for the firm that you're going to hire an accounting firm. So you're paying $35,000 to an attorney's firm, a law firm, to go pick an accounting firm, which we have already. They've already picked the Raymond Group, and then pay for a forensic audit, which we all know is not going to be at $50. It's not going to be at $20. It's going to be multiple $100s per hour for 10 years, which I'm fine with looking into things. I'm just not okay with going from point A to point Z right away. I think there's definitely multiple steps in between that would save the taxpayers a lot of money before we go to that step. Thank you.
Thank you.
Madam Chair.
Councilman Constant.
Well, number one, just to echo what Councilman Abdullah said, and if the city wants to hire accountants to do an audit, they should hire accountants. The law firm, and Mr. Schenk is here sitting against the wall, the city should hire accountants. The only reason I would think that the city would want to hire the law firm and have the law firm do the accountants is so that it would be attorney-client privilege and we couldn't look at the results of the audit. Number two, the contract calls for your signature. If the city enters into any contracts, the mayor and clerk have to sign it. Again, it's $35,000, that's taxpayer money, city money. So none of this at all makes sense. I think what we need to do is have our auditors, Plant Moran, or
okay, at this time, we do have a motion on the table. There's no other option at this point.
Any other accounting firm,
let them speak.
Go through those years and say, X amount of money came in the PEG money, and X amount went out, and here's what it was spent on. That's what you're looking for, not to hire a law firm on the other side of town with an open-ended $250 an hour contract.
Thank you. We do have a motion on the table. Is there any further discussion?
Madam Chair.
Mayor?
I would, since I've not been permitted to make my comments, I would entertain for everybody to go on the internet, look up the attorney's name, look up Channel 62 and their comments. The attorney left at 42 years of age from Wayne County with almost $100,000 pension. No. What I wanted to express to everybody,
okay, at this point,
that he held up in Ficano's administration.
That's unacceptable discussion at this point. We have a motion on the table. Okay, no. Point of order, please. Okay, at this point, we do have a resolution for City Council to contract with the law firm as outlined in 9A.
Council Chair.
And at this point, we're going to vote on it.
Council Chair, may I?
And the vote, sorry.
Oh, no comment? Okay.
No.
I just want to make sure we're clear that I'm being kept from providing legal advice to the city at this point. Is that correct?
I did research at 5.13J. You assisted in drafting the veto, which makes it a conflict of interest for us to come to you in regards to this.
No, it doesn't, but...
Yes, it does. That's cut and dry. I did my research, 5.13J. If there's a conflict of interest, council is able to get their own legal help outside of you. Because you did draft the veto, it is a conflict of interest.
It's not a conflict of interest.
Okay. At this point,
there are ways to deal with that, which is not what you're doing.
we have a motion on the table. In regards to this motion, we need a minimum of 5 people to vote in favor of it, as much as 7, but we need at least 5. That would super veto the mayor's veto. So at this time, I'm going to ask everybody, all those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
And I'm going to specify who, raise your hands, whoever.
Vote for what, to accept the veto?
Well, we're voting on the
9A.
resolution 9A, which is to reconsider and reintroduce the resolution to enter into the contract with law firm Ottenwas, Tawil, and Schenk. At this point, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay, raise your hands. We have Muscat, Bazey, Councilwoman Hicks Clayton. We have Councilman Wenzel, and then myself, Malinowski Maxwell. We have a vote of 5 out of 7, so that would super veto the veto that was outlined in 8C.
Can we get the official nays, please?
Councilman Muscat?
Nays, the official nays.
Oh, all those, Councilman Constant and Councilman Abdullah.
Thank you.
Thank you, sorry. Okay. Next item on the agenda is Council Chairwoman Malinowski Maxwell and Council Pro Tem Bazey. It is the retainer agreement for Attorney Schenk.
Madam Chair.
Councilman Bazey.
I move the City Council to accept the retainer agreement that is outlined in 9B.
Support.
Support by Councilman Muscat. Is there any discussion?
Madam Chair?
Councilman Constant?
Well, again, I just note, any contract has to be signed by the mayor and clerk. So it calls for your signature.
So do we want to change it to be signed by the mayor and mayor clerk?
I'm not aware of anything that the city council retains or signs contracts for, really anything. We're the legislative body.
Okay, should we change it then? Okay, go ahead.
Maker of the motion can change it.
Change the motion that we accept this retainer agreement, but it would have to be signed by the mayor and the clerk.
At the direction of the council, yes. Who made the motion?
Bill?
I'll make a motion to amend it.
To have
the mayor and the city clerk.
Right, as per our charter, okay.
I think
Madam Chair.
Councilman Muscat supported it.
Ray, Councilman Muscat, do you second that?
Yes.
Still? Okay. Okay.
And I know
Councilman
Mr.
Costi?
Schenk is here. If that's on the law firm, if that amendment is okay with them, they drafted it, so.
Are you okay with that? He's okay with that. Okay, is there any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay, all those opposed?
No.
Councilman Abdullah and Councilman Constant are opposed, the rest are in favor. Okay, next item on the agenda is City Clerk Prusevich, notice of public hearing for proposed 2019-2020 corporate fund budget.
Madam Chair,
Councilman Abdullah.
I move that we concur with Dearborn Heights City Clerk Walter Prusevich. I killed the name, sorry. As required by the city charter, a public hearing date must be established for consideration of the proposed 2019-2020 corporate fund budget. The notice of a public hearing shall be published 4 weeks prior to adoption. In the past, adoption has been at the last regular meeting in May, which this year is May 28th, 2019. And thereby, it is requested that the public hearing be scheduled for Tuesday, May 14th, 2019, and that the adoption of the budget be scheduled at the regular meeting of May 28th, 2019, as outlined in item 9C.
Support.
Supported by Councilman Muscat. Is there any discussion?
Madam Chair.
Councilman Bazey.
Before we vote on, I know this is just the public hearing date. I'd like to see the actual, the last year's budget, where we're at before we vote on the next budget. So if we can have the same budget sheet with what the balances that we have from last year. Not right now, but when we actually ready to vote on it. I don't think.
Okay.
Controllers.
Oh, go ahead.
Hi.
Sorry,
it's included in the budget that I submitted. We submitted, and I also sent an email out Monday with the updated as of March 31st. It was emailed to all the council members, so you already have that information.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Madam Chair?
Councilwoman Hicks.
I do have a question, because I know that last year's budget is included in here, but in the past, and I've kept all my budget books since the beginning, since 2012, but in the past, we had, I believe, the last 3 years. So is there a reason why we changed from having the 3-year outlook there? It's because it's important to see the trends, right, and comparables?
So look, I thought I gave you exactly the same. I generated this through the BSNA software instead of an individual spreadsheet. So maybe that's where the variance is, because I pulled it up. I can get
Okay. All right, thank you.
years if you need.
Appreciate that. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, is there any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? The ayes have it. Next, we have Building and Engineering Department Special Event Permit for 23302 West Warren.
Madam Chair?
Before I'm not done. I was made aware that the dates that we have on here are incorrect, so I want to correct them out loud, and everybody can correct their copies. They are on May 10th and 11th, May 17th and May 18th, May 24th, May 25th, May 31st, and June 1st. And the time would be from 12 a.m. to 4 a.m. Did everybody get the dates?
Yes.
Okay.
Madam Chair.
Councilman Abdullah.
I move that we concur with building official for the city of Dearborn Heights, Larry Domsky, that's been advised by the building department of Dearborn Heights has approved the requested special event permit at 23302 West Warren Avenue, which is a hype center, for each weekend during Ramadan for the dates outlined on May 10th, 11th, 17th, 18th, 24th, 25th, 31st, and June the 1st. Pending City Council approval is outlined in item 9D.
Support.
Supported by Councilman Constant. Is there any discussion?
Madam Chair.
Councilman Abdullah.
Just want to say, the gentleman that's running this particular operation, I went to the previous one that he had last year, and obviously he was willing to come in, sit down with the city and work with the city as far as whatever city requirements there were. I know he's worked with the fire department and the police department and of course administration, and I think this is a great thing for our residents during Ramadan, for people not only to enjoy food but to enjoy each other's company. And most importantly, what I really liked when I spoke with this, Mr. Shami, the gentleman that's running this, he was all in favor in creating a lot of diversity, bringing in a lot of different residents from within the city to enjoy this particular Ramadan Suhoor, and in it will be all kinds of food, and even just looking at the different restaurants or vendors that will be there. They're, as he mentioned, they're either Dearborn Heights residents or Dearborn Heights businesses. So I'm all in favor of this, and something that's very, very important that we should point out is that it's being run at the Hype Center in the back. So therefore, it is not close to any residents. It will not cause any type of commotion for any residents. And for those that have been to events at Hype, which I've been to many, many, where they've had many, many people there, packed audience, with the valet parking that they do, they run a smooth operation, and I don't foresee any type of objection to this, so hopefully. And I know the gentleman, I spoke with him multiple times, as detailed as as you could probably get. So he's got all the T's crossed and all the I's dotted. So I look forward to doing this, hopefully.
Thank you.
Madam
Councilwoman
Chair,
Hicks Clayton.
Thank you. I concur with everything you just said. We spent some time talking about this, and I think it's a great thing for our community. And as you said, everyone's invited to this, and there's over 20 different food businesses and other things, other support services, wraparound services that are available, which is phenomenal. I was excited to hear about their voter registration. I think that's great. And it's just placemaking that works. It brings people to our community, and I think that's important. But I wanted to say this is great, and I fully support it, because what we're talking about is supporting and developing, the spirit of our community, with our diversity, which we should always embrace and be inclusive. So I think this is a great thing, and thank you for all your work on this.
Thank you. Any further discussion?
Madam Chair?
Councilman
I think also it's a great idea to get people together, and from what I understand, you don't eat until after sundown, is that correct? And so I guess a good place to go eat. Now, I know he mentioned it's for a lot of youth and young adults. Is there going to be alcoholic beverages served there?
No.
No, good. Okay.
No alcohol.
I'm just wondering.
Yeah, it'll be no alcohol, no music. And I would like to add, I'm sorry, were you?
No, I'm done, yeah.
Do you mind, Councilor?
Go ahead.
I'd just like to add that last year, although it was just an impromptu, they just did a quick one, the amount of social media attention that our city received was just absolutely unbelievable, and it was all positive. And I also seen and met many, many people that came in from either out of state or out of cities. I mean, I'm talking about from cities 20, 30, 40 miles away that came into our city and enjoyed this particular festival, although it was at a smaller scale. So this is good to give a lot of good promotion, good PR, and good social media for our city. So I'm really looking forward to this. Thank you.
Thank you. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? The ayes have it. Next on the agenda is DPW Director Selmy, approval to dispose of used equipment.
Council Chair?
Councilman Muscat.
I move council approve the disposal of the 5 vehicles as outlined in 9E.
Support.
Supported by Councilman Bazey. Is there any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? The ayes have it. Next, we have Fire Chief Brogan, Squad Graphics and Lighting.
Madam Chair.
Councilwoman Hicks Clayton.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Move to concur with Fire Chief David Brogan and authorize to purchase lighting and graphics for the new squad to be done by Medex, the manufacturer, and save money and time. The cost will be $2,181. Will come out of capital outlay, paid upon receipt, as outlined in 9F.
Support.
Support by Councilman Bazey. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? The ayes have it. Next on the agenda is Fire Chief Brogan, permission to purchase detox chamber sauna.
Madam Chair.
Councilwoman Hicks Clayton.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Move to concur with Fire Chief David Brogan and authorize the purchase of 2 decon chamber sauna units for both fire stations, one on each end, of course, of our city. The units are $4,764 each. The total is $9,528. Tifa is contributing $3,758 towards the south end unit. The remaining balance of $5,770 will be from capital outlay paid upon receipt, as outlined in 9G.
Support.
Support by, who supported?
Support.
Councilman Muscat. Is there any further discussion?
Madam Chair.
Councilwoman Hicks Clayton.
Thank you. I want to say when we first talked about this, I was pretty excited about it. And the reason is, and I think what's really important for people to understand, is that building material is so different today that there's a lot of carcinogens they find. When the building burns and the material burns, those are released, and our firefighters, even though they have the protective gear, it isn't infallible. And we see, and I've lobbied in Lansing on this, to get the benefits for our firefighters and their families, because they do have an alarming rate of cancer, which is very unfortunate, something a lot of people may not know about. So it's really important. This is something that's going to help with that, to remove those toxins from their bodies in the case of a fire with the heavy metals and things. So again, thank you. This is wonderful, and I think it's important we look out for our public safety servants.
Okay, thank you. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? The ayes have it. Next item on the agenda is Police Chief Bolt Attorney, request for approval budget transfers.
Madam Chair.
Councilman Abdullah.
I move that we concur with Police Chief Dan Volt, attorney, requesting that you approve the following budget transfers from motor oil fuel number 300-867 to telephone number 300-853. The amount is $12,000 as outlined in item 9H.
Support.
Supported by Councilman Constant. Is there any discussion? Councilman Muscat.
I'd like to see in the future backups for these, why the expenses are the way they are, and give us, because as we go along through the year, we approve everything, but this is a transfer now to pay for something, and we haven't seen any documentation on what we're paying. But that's just for the future. I'd like to see that.
Okay, thank you. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? The ayes have it. Next, we have Police Chief Volt Attorney, request for approval to pay Motorola Solutions Service Agreement.
Madam Chair.
Councilman Abdullah.
I move that we concur with Police Chief Dan Volt, attorney, asking the mayor and the council to approve pay for the following: Motorola Solutions Service Agreement, March 1st, 2019 to May 31st, 2019. The amount due is $15,338.19 and will be paid from the Police Department Contractual Services account as outlined in item 9I.
Support.
Supported by Councilwoman Hicks Clayton. Is there any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? The ayes have it. Next, under Ordinances and Resolutions, we have Mayor Paleco, River Oaks Pond Restoration Project Resolution.
Madam Chair.
Councilman Constant.
I move we concur with the administration and approve the resolution attached to 11A, which begins the process for the assessment of the money needed for the restoration of the Old Orchard Pond, as outlined in 11A.
Support.
Supported by Councilman Bazey. Is there any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? The ayes have it. Next, under Ordinances and Resolutions, we have Mayor Paleco, support City of Riverview in relocation of U.S. Governmental Protection Agency offices currently on Grosse Isle to the City of Riverview's Municipal Building Resolution.
Madam Chair.
Councilman Abdullah?
I move that we concur with Mayor Dan Paletko. The Downriver communities had a concern with the recent announcement that the U.S. EPA was closing their office in Grosse Ile and would have the administrative staff work out of the Ann Arbor office. And thus, they are recommending that the City of Riverview has made an offer to relocate the U.S. EPA offices currently on Grosse Ile to the City of Riverview's municipal building, and this would allow the EPA office to remain close to the Detroit River, Lake Erie, and the Great Lakes water system as outlined in item 11B.
Support.
Supported by Councilman Constant. Is there any discussion?
Madam Chair.
Councilwoman Hicks Clayton.
So I understand the need, and I think it's, not a bad thing to have it. It's the City of Riverview's municipal building, but I'm wondering, because how much does this resolution weigh in, influence, may I ask?
Yeah, I was at a meeting with the Downriver mayors, and while we're farther north, they asked for our support, but it's a very unified, it's a major issue, and this would provide support to our neighboring communities.
Okay, before we go, can I ask the people in the audience not to be so loud? We're trying to conduct business. Okay, I'm sorry. Any other discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? The ayes have it. Next, we have Park and Recreation Deputy Director prohibits selling of non-authorized persons at the 2019 Spirit Festivities Resolution.
Madam Chair.
Councilwoman Hicks Clayton.
Move to adopt the resolution presented by Parks and Recreation Deputy Director prohibits selling by non-authorized persons at the 2019 Spirit Festivals as outlined in 11C.
Supported by Councilman Bazey. Is there any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? The ayes have it. Under new business, we have a business license renewal for Famous Auto Center located at 25996 Van Born. Also, Ford Lanes Incorporated located at 23100 Van Born Road. And then we have Red Lobster Hospitality LLC located at 6850 North Telegraph. And Uncle Ray's Place located at 24502 Warren.
Madam Chair.
Councilwoman Hicks Clayton.
Move to approve all the business renewals applications, as you have already mentioned, in 13A.
Support.
Supported by Councilman Bazey. Is there any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? The ayes have it. Okay, next, under new business license of application, this is for Automania LLC located at 22120 Van Born.
Madam Chair.
Councilman Constant.
I move we approve the new business license for Automania LLC located at 22120 Van Born, the old Windjammer and several other businesses as outlined in 13B.
Support.
Supported by Councilman Bazey. Is there any discussion?
Council Chair.
Councilman Muscat.
I just want to say that I was prepared to vote no on this because of the amount of used car dealerships on Van Born. But then the residents came up and shockingly, they approve of it because of the way it's kept up. So I'm going to go with what the residents say and really tip my cap to the owners of the facility for keeping it up and reaching out with to the residents back there. So I tip my cap to you guys.
Yep, and I feel the same way.
Madam Chair.
Madam Chair.
Councilman Abdullah.
Cap to you for listening to residents.
Yes.
Councilman Abdullah.
Madam Chair, although I'm not in favor of too many auto-type dealerships on Van Born or any type of auto business on Van Born, in this particular case, when we found out a little bit more information, we found out it was a business, or the gentleman that currently owns it has already been there for 2 years as a detail shop, and the residents have been very happy, especially we've seen him come up earlier today, with this particular gentleman as far as the business that he is running. And Ordinance has had basically no problems with him other than fairly recently some flags were put up, and then when Ordinance was not happy with them or were not allowed. They took them right back down. And they have a certificate of occupancy. And they've been running a business in our city for 2 years. And they've been in the same business for 30 years. So with that being the case, they have the history and the fact that they've already been in our city, and the same person is staying in our city. He's just, instead of shutting down and having possibly a boarded up building, we're going to have a additional business that he's going to be adding on there. So I'm personally all in favor of it. And I think this will work out well for the residents.
Madam Chair, there's been several businesses there. The only business that was ever successful was the Windjammer for a time, but there was it's called the Crazy Leprechaun. It was just people parking on the lawns and going down the Court Street and urinating at 2:30 in the morning, so at least this will hopefully be a good use for the building.
Okay, is there any further discussion? Councilman Wenzel.
I was going to ask Mark Roberts, the counsel for the Planning Commission. I think he left.
Left already.
Okay. Does anybody know if there was any variances given to this project?
If I may,
We have the
this was
attorney for
approved.
them. He would probably know. Is he still here?
Yes.
Do you know of any variances?
It was approved by the Board of Zoning Appeals.
Are there any variances?
The planning gave an approval. Yeah, there was no issues.
No issues? Okay.
Were there any variances allowed?
I believe there was no variances given, none needed.
Okay.
Well, I'm not in favor of more car dealerships just because they've been there and clean business, and there's party stores there too. You could give them a car dealership license or any other business that's been there for years. So I'm going to vote no on this.
Okay. Any further discussion?
Council Chair, if I may. There has to be cause to actually deny a business license per the city code. A lot of times people don't realize that, but there actually has to end up being cause, and the cause is more than just not liking it. So for future reference, it's an important point.
Okay. Is there any further discussion?
Madam Chair.
Councilman Bell?
I'd just like to point out to some of the council members that we still got to be in favor of adding as many businesses as possible. I mean, I know the city's been focused on getting Van Born going. I know there's going to be some rehabilitation of the street in the future between us and Taylor. And I just think we got to keep encouraging businesses to stay open there. I drive on Van Born, and there's just too many, unfortunately, either boarded up buildings or buildings that have sometimes been run down. So whenever you have a business application for somebody that's already been there and has proven himself, as far as keeping up the property, I think we ought to encourage this type of thing so we could keep businesses in our city, not have them get out or leave.
Okay, thank you. Any further discussion? Okay, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed?
No.
Councilman Wenzel is opposed. Okay, next we have comments from council members at the table.
Madam Chair,
Councilman Bazey?
this topic I brought up a few times on homes being demolished without the proper abatement. I received numerous calls on some of the homes that were just demolished on Hanover, some of them over the weekend. In fact, one of the residents' kids happens to actually go to school with my son. He gave me a bunch of pictures. Actually, I'm kind of disturbed by some of these pictures. They have, again, we were told that they're doing the proper abatement. And if you look at some of the pictures, I have actually more pictures. I'd like to see, actually, I'd like to give this to the police chief. Let me make a comment first before I pass these pictures. The residents are the ones that I talked to, including this young man who's my son's good friend, who lives down the street from those houses, mentioned that they had, you can see some of the pictures in here. They have installation in like a mountain pile high. The people that were cleaning up had protective gear on, but the residents are exposed. Their health and safety are in jeopardy when you have all this asbestos and lead paint in these homes. And you can see one of the pictures in here. There's actually dust from the stuff that is being, cleaned up, and that's that dust from the insulation. So They actually wanted to go to the, as the mayor said, you know, he was in favor of whistleblowers. He talked to the FBI as the last meeting he mentioned. So I said, let's give our police chief, the new police chief, a chance to actually investigate this. So I want to give this to our new police chief to see if he can investigate this, to see if this company, I told him, I said, let's not go to the state yet till our police has had a chance to investigate it. So Chief? So this company, I mean, I don't know if you know, obviously somebody called the state, and the state is not aware of these homes being demolished. Well, actually, I'd like to see, anyway, I don't want to sit here and debate.
They have a license from Laura.
I want to have the chief investigate it and report out to the council.
You had a friend at Laura. They have a license at Laura.
I live on Hanover, and we have no notification that this was happening.
Okay, well, we will have open comment from the audience. You can get up in a couple.
So I would like to, Chief, I would like to have some type of, I guess, like maybe that next meeting or any meeting that we can get a resolution to see if that company has done the proper abatement. So we'd like to find out if you can talk to the state to see if the proper abatement has been done to these homes and there is no health and safety risk to the residents in the area, because we have senior citizens, we have kids run with their bikes. I've seen them going up and down the street and breathing this stuff.
So I will look into this, but what I prefer is that you send me an email with your specific complaints and concerns. That way we're able to address them properly. Okay. And I'll get this to the proper investigative unit to handle it.
Thank you, Chief. Appreciate it. I'll do that.
Councilman Muscat?
I looked also into this, and I did call Administrative Assistant Laszlo, and she was kind enough to give me the phone number to the company that's doing the tear downs. Now, the company that does the tear downs, they hire the abatement company. The city did not. But looking up the abatement company, they have 9 EPA violations already. It's time that we stop, make a move, if we use this group again, that they don't use this company anymore. I'm just making a statement here that we need to stop that. We need to have somebody clean and forward. They should have been putting water on those houses as they were knocking them down. That keeps the dust down. Everyone that's ever taken anything apart in their life knows you squirt it down with water.
Okay, I just want to remind the people in the audience to please keep your voices down, because it's hard for everybody to understand what we're saying up here. We're going to make our comments, then we'll have announcements in the city, and then the public, we encourage you to come up and say whatever you want for 3 minutes in regards to this. Okay. Any other comments from council members?
Madam Chair.
Councilman Abdallah.
Just a small comment. I want to congratulate our fellow council members. I'm really all in favor of a lot of diversity in the city, and for all of us to not only get along but live together and enjoy this great city together. So I'd like to congratulate them on approving the Ramadan Suhoor Festival.
Councilman Wenzel.
Okay, I have a few things. I want everyone to know we're having our 26th annual Ecorse Creek cleanup May 4th at the Richard A. Young Center at 9 a.m. It's a good community project. Get involved. We have a lot of young people and elderly people, and it's a good bonding thing to happen. And secondly, I had conversations with a gentleman, David Anderson, on Parker Street, and he's having issues with his neighbor. It's been going on for over a year, and the city's been aware of it, and I believe they've issued him citations. And now he told me that the city gave him material to go to court, and he doesn't feel it's his job to take this resident to court if the city feels that it's his neighbor's fault for digging out underneath his driveway, shining a light in his yard. And he feels that the city should do something about taking him to court, not having the resident, because it's a city violation, and it shouldn't be a resident that has to take this person to court. It should be the city. And I just want to make that. Jack, do you have any comment on that?
No.
No?
I've already spoke to you about it, and I kind of told you where we're at with that. Do you want me to speak about it publicly?
Well, he just said that he doesn't feel like he should be having to pay an attorney to go to court over it.
Okay. Well, I'm not sure how much I can say about it.
Yeah, I think you guys talk after.
All right. And
Let's
also,
not put it on video.
I was going to ask the mayor for a update. I had several residents ask me for an update on the Van Born corridor, but I see he left.
No, I'm here.
Oh, okay.
I just had a conversation. I didn't want to be disruptive.
Okay. All right.
The Van Born Corridor project, we just had a discussion today with the weight and trim people, and we're attempting to, we've had a series of meetings with TIFA and our people, and we're all willing and ready to get going. We're going to suggest a joint meeting again with the Taylor people, and we hope that given the situation in Taylor, there's still a commitment to the project.
Okay.
Councilman Muscat?
One more thing. Just
go ahead. Councilman Wenzel.
Yeah. This is for our treasurer, John Riley. The trust fund 115, is that completely funded as out, that was supposed to be by at this time?
I don't believe that there's a 115 trust that has been established as of yet. That is something I guess you might want to refer to Corporation Counsel on, but that was something that would become before this board, and my feeling they would be adopting it.
That is correct. Weren't we supposed to have a certain amount of money in an account by now for that?
Well, you have the money set aside, so I would assume that would meet the requirements with regard to that. And then you can end up having the Section 115 trust in order to basically be able to have the vehicle in place.
Madam Chair, Councilwoman question. Thank you for our attorney, because we've had this discussion. We established that a 115 trust was needed to separate the health care from the pension in the Act 345. That was probably at least 8 months ago or 6 months ago, and we're already taxing the residents that money through Act 345. Why would it not have been established by now? Because we've already taxed the residents. So that money should be in that trust fund.
Because the money is set aside in order to conform with state law, and there doesn't have to be the specific vehicle of the Section 115 trust. Section 115 trust is put in place in order to conform with the federal law once you put the money in there and once it ends up being under control of the board of the Section 115 trust.
So that money then that we tax the residents under Act 345 that is restricted, where is it right now then?
The money, if I might.
Because if it's in the general fund, it can't be.
It will be in the next tax roll, so it's in the next budget. So it needs to be set up in time for when the next tax bills go out. And in the cover letter, I thought we addressed it in the cover letter, but if I didn't, I apologize. But I'm pretty sure we addressed it and said those legacy costs, and that was why there was an increase in 345 millage. And when that money's collected, we would want to have the trust fund and put it directly in this.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Council Chair.
Councilman Muscat?
Road repairs. Cherry Hill Road between Gully and Inkster Road. There are buckling, the road's buckling so bad that today, traveling down Cherry Hill, I hit one of those things doing 30 miles an hour. And if I had dentures, it would have knocked them all the way over to Inkster. Is there anything we can do about that? I mean, Cherry Hill, I think, belongs to us.
Is it Wayne County Road?
Wayne County.
Yeah.
Because years ago, I remember Mr. Zimmer repaired Cherry Hill Road.
Is city, and then it's shared with Inkster when you get past.
Pardon me?
It's shared with Inkster once you get past
Correct, and I'm talking about between Beach Daily and Gully should be repaired because it's horrible. Horrible.
It's a county requirement. So many residents were complaining that Zimmer, we had done some work on another project and we had some surplus dollars left in the same company, even though it was a county road, because as you approach Inkster, it was...
Oh yeah, it was horrible.
So we fixed it, but I'm not sure we had the legal, well, we didn't have the legal responsibility, but we did let the county know we were going to fix it, and a person at the county...
Well, can we fix our part, at least take down that one big hump that the road is buckled, so people don't damage their cars. My car bottomed out today, and I had to get out and check to see if my wheels were bent.
Well, I think John heard the comment.
I can send an email so keep your mind refreshed.
Yep.
Thank you.
Council Chair.
Councilman Abdullah.
Just want to say I totally agree with Councilman Muscat there. I mean, that's the entrance into our city, and I think it should, well, first of all, people should have roads to be able to drive by. I know it's a state of Michigan, I mean, all over the state's a problem all over the state of Michigan, but definitely as a gateway into our city, we should have something look much nicer, and I thought about that, but didn't think of bringing it up, so thank you, Councilman. When I drove on there maybe about 2-3 weeks ago, it's pretty bad.
Madam Chair.
Councilman Cos?
I just want to thank the residents that are here and Association President Rick Marr for coming, and it's been a long haul, but getting the pond over at River Oaks hopefully flowing and developed and functioning properly will be a great thing for the city.
If I may comment on that point, Council Chair. This is just the start of the process. There will actually have to end up being another meeting, and that would probably be taking place, as I recall, in May. So we have more that needs to end up being done.
Okay. Councilman Abdullah?
I think it would be a good idea maybe to email, once we know what dates we're going to be going over, what parts of the budget.
We got that already.
Yeah, making sure so that the residents, so we can put it, because we've had sometimes residents comment to us about different things in the budget after the fact, after we've already voted on it.
at the end.
You were? Okay, so I'll give you the privilege then, if that's the
I was
case.
waiting for everybody else to be done.
No problem.
Is there any other? Okay, well, we are going to be doing our budget hearings. The first one will be Friday, April 26th from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. And the second one will be Friday, May 3rd, also from 10 a.m. to 2:30 p.m.
What were the dates again? I'm sorry, April?
April 26th and May 3rd, both Fridays. I'll send it tomorrow.
From 10 a.m.?
10 a.m. to 2, both days.
We'll be reviewing the budget during the day.
Yes, on Fridays.
Okay. So if we have, somebody has a work commitment.
Okay. I don't know, we can discuss that later if you want.
Yeah, I think we'll need to do that.
Okay.
Council Chair, I just want to remind all the residents, okay?
Okay.
That the Warren Valley Golf Club and Banquet facility are open for operation, and they're doing well. They have many, many events booked there. If you're interested in booking an event, get a hold of them there. It's we're ready to go, and it's city-owned now. We want our residents to have their parties and banquets there, and go golfing there too. Thanks.
Okay, thank you. Okay, any other from the council? Okay, at this time, I'm going to open it up to public announcements involving the city.
Hi, Mayor and Council. I'm just here to tell you that I am very proud of the volunteers of the City of Dearborn Heights. And I just found this out today, have another state winner. The winner for City of Dearborn Heights has not been introduced yet because I was going to wait until the volunteer lunch, but we've got next week the Lansing ceremony for the winner because she won the state. So I'm here to announce that Lynn Killian has won the Senior Citizen of the Year by the Dearborn Heights Commission on Aging. And she also won the 2019 Margaret Whitehead Senior Citizen of the Year Award from the state of Michigan. So, thank you.
Hey, any other public announcements?
Where's the library announcement? I missed it. I get to go ahead of you this time. Okay, Nancy Breyer, and I'm from the South End. And I want to announce that this Friday at 6:30 p.m. At the Richard Young Center, we have our meeting on the 12th. We will have someone from Dearborn Heights there, as well as hopefully at least 2 council members for our people who will talk. But starting in May, mark your calendars for May 23rd from 7 to 9 p.m., we have a new location, Ford Lanes, 23100 Van Born Road, and we have a really exciting, as you would say, plan of people to speak that evening. We will have both District 7 and Westwood Community superintendents and school board people there to talk to you, and you can ask questions.
What time is that, Nancy?
That's 7 to 9 on May 23rd, which is a Thursday evening. We've got a better day so it won't mess up all of our summer plans. So it'll always be on the 4th Thursday of the month, 7 to 9 p.m. And then there's one other thing I thought I'd mention to people. This happened to me yesterday. There's a Social Security scam going on, 3 S's in a row. And they call and they ask you if you've received your Social Security card yet. Then they go on to say, is it paper or is it laminated? And then they ask how your name was presented on it. And then finally they get toward the bottom line and they ask you what the Social Security number is. Don't answer them. So I let our Carrie Hatton at the police department know yesterday so that the word can get out, because that's happening a few places. And you don't have to be a senior citizen, but they're probably picking on them first. So I thank you all very much.
Thank you. Okay, is there any other public announcements? This time.
Hi, Tom Wenzel, 2 Lane Street. I just want to let everyone know, today I had the pleasure of watching a demonstration and training exercise of our new fire engine ladder. Very impressive. It was at the South End Fire Station today. I watched them go through this process. 75-foot tall ladder. Very impressive. The decals and the markings in Dearborn Heights and established in 1963 was on there. Very impressive machine. My hat goes off to Lisa Martin, the grant writer, who was responsible for, I imagine, getting the funds for this this truck. Is that right, Chief?
No, she got us some of our previous squads, but not that truck.
Oh, not that one? Well, okay. Well, congratulations to her previous accomplishments then. But the truck is very, very impressive, and when you get a chance to see it, it's, I think they're going to have it out at different events coming around, so it's very impressive and another gem to the city of Dearborn Heights.
Thank you. Okay.
Sama Harp, 5709 Heritage Court.
Okay. Are you public comment or announcements? You're, as a resident?
It's a request.
Okay, because you have 3, as a resident, you do have
as
3
a
minutes.
Resident, yeah.
So that's why I was just letting you know.
My request is to consider changing the date of the meeting regarding the Old Orchard Pond prior to May 8th, just in observance of Ramadan that commences on May 5th. Residents deserve to hear what's going on, what are the last resolutions, and May 8th may be hard on many residents. That's all.
Okay, thank you. Okay, at this time, I'm going to open up to public comments. State your name, address, and you have 3 minutes.
Hi, how are you?
Hi.
Okay, my name is Cindy, and I live at 24091 Hanover Street. I've been there for 10 years, and unfortunately, I don't know what's going to hit us next. Because every time there's a rainstorm, I'm like, oh my God, what's going to happen to them? My house went 6 feet under, 4 feet under, 3 feet under. I lost almost 10 cars already as it is. So now my house is breaking from the ceiling. My foundation is separating in my backyard. My whole house around is just like breaking up. I have a dog. Can't even go in the backyard when it's the rain because it becomes a swamp. Turns out my house goes this way, while everybody else's house goes a little bit further up. Behind me, it's a parking lot. I don't know if that parking lot is affecting it, where the water don't go nowhere but down my house or the next door neighbors. It turns out, I heard there's 5 more houses on the ballot to be demolished, and 3 houses already went down in the last 2 days. And I don't know what to expect next, and it's not very healthy for my family. My kids got asthma, So my house is already starting to smell that mold. So no matter how much I clean it, no matter how much money I put into it, it's never going to be the same. Okay? I'm there because, unfortunately, I just can't go get a mortgage. It's very hard to get a mortgage, you know. So we try to build ourselves to get a better home, but it's hard to get out to do it. So I just like to let you know, I don't know what to expect, and I am one of those people that live on Hanover that I don't know what's going to happen next, honestly.
Okay, thank you.
Madam Chair. Are you on Hanover west of Telegraph?
Yes, I am. Yeah, I live, the house is
Why don't you go up to the...
What's your address?
24091.
Are you
Hanover.
on the area of Hanover that sort of dips down?
Yes, yes. So when it tips down, I'm right here. Okay. Yeah, it's unfortunate.
Madam Chair?
Okay, Councilman Abella.
I know it's not the administration's total fault, but whatever we can do as an administration, or at least whatever the administration can do, because the problem, I could just tell you based on my business, the problem for a lot of residents, even if they want to move, unfortunately, it's difficult to move because of having to disclose the different issues.
We would have did it a long time ago if we could have.
Because having to disclose different issues that people have with the homes, which makes it either difficult to sell or not at a market price. So,
Right.
you know, whatever the administration can do to help not only you, but other residents, obviously, I'm all in favor of. Because I can imagine it's very difficult.
I mean,
to
I
live in that
walked
type of
in, I paid
situation.
cash for my house. I didn't even finance it.
Right.
And then actually, the first day I got the key to go to my house, there was a flood.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah, I'm like, what is this? You know? And I couldn't turn back. It was already closed down.
Right.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, any other comments? Just come to the microphone, state your name, address, and you have 3 minutes.
Zuhair Abdelhaq, Dearborn Heights. I was in Maryland last city council meeting, and I was very disturbed about what our mayor said, that 5 of you are under investigation because of whistleblower. He knows I am the expert in this town about whistleblower law. And he exonerated 2 people on the city council. I don't know how did he get his information. I don't know what federal law you violated or state law. For him to say the FBI to interfere, there must be some federal issue or corruption, which in state police and other agencies. And I was wondering, when I get back from Maryland, I'm going to visit 5 of you in jail, or I'm going to have coffee with you at Ram's Horn every Tuesday night, because I love to have coffee with you after the meeting every Tuesday. And I invite the mayor and who he sends to monitor us to welcome and to listen to our conversation. I want to ask a question. I sent the FOIA a few months ago about the house which Mr. Bazzi brought, about the building director that he bought. The answer was they couldn't give me the inspection report of that property because there is an outside investigation. God forbid, 2 whistleblowers from the city, it took him an hour to go to his office, and the next they are downtown with the FBI. I've been waiting 4 months for an answer on my FOIA in what happened. He doesn't want even to investigate it, because that director went door to door during the election last time in city car, city time, and collected between $40,000 to $50,000 checks, $1,000 to his campaign fund. I wish he drives around the city and see how many violations there are in the building department, how much violations in those permits who are issued. And if he doesn't know where they are, I'll be happy to give you my time tomorrow in my car to take you around, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Okay. Name, address, and 3 minutes, please.
I don't need 3 minutes. For clarification, I think you were talking about a former employee, not mayor. My name's Chrissy Laszlo. I live on Charlesworth Street in Dearborn Heights. Tonight, council passed a budget with the water budget. The council had 3 different meetings with Plant Moran. This budget was set for council 3 different times. I think it made it on the agenda twice. Each time Plant Moran gave a schedule, explained exactly what an increase would do, what no increase would do.
Get order in the back. I can't hear the speaker with these 2 people talking. Please be quiet. Thank you.
Okay, point of order, please.
So anyways, so tonight this budget was passed. There was no calculations, there was no estimates on what a 10% decrease would actually do or have an impact on the rates. A 10% decrease is great. You have other politicians stating for older people, read my lips, no new taxes. That's great. That's wonderful, right? That's what gets people elected. But there's also a long-term impact. These water funds go towards sewer maintenance, water main breaks, big CSO projects, and having a multi-million-dollar budget cut with a 10% decrease with no discussion whatsoever is going to have massive negative effects going forward for at least 5 years. There can't have been any discussion because there was no discussion openly. There was no discussion at any of these public meetings. Playing fast and loose with these residents and the service provided to them is irresponsible, it's politically driven, and it's disgusting.
Thank you. Any further public comment? Come on up to the microphone, state your name, address, and you have 3 minutes.
I know.
She needs to learn how to conduct herself.
Suzanne Todd, Academy Street. I want to thank the council for giving us, the residents, a break on our water. Several years ago, I did my own study and found that the city was actually making money on our water fund. I would also like to say that we appreciate you giving us a break on that, because when I start seeing the transfers here that says money going back to the water fund for buying tires and gasoline and all sorts of automated parts. Now we're told that, oh yeah, it gets paid back. But my question is, if it gets paid back, why isn't it on here? It says fund transfers and current claims. Not once have I seen anything saying a DPW transferred such and such and such to the water fund. So thank you again for giving us a discount. And until the residents get some kind of clarification that that money is indeed going back into the water fund and not that we're told that it is, I want to see it here. I want to see the transfers here. Thank you.
Any other public comment? Please come to the microphone, state your name, address, and you have 3 minutes.
Hi, my name is Patrick Mangfrecker. I live on Kingsbury Street. You may have seen me. I've been here the last 2 sessions with my boyfriend, Michael Dave Kaufman, and he could not be here today because he just had his toe amputated yesterday. And this is a problem that has been caused by the city of Detroit. He has stated a lot of problems that he has noticed around here, and the biggest of which was that when he was sexually assaulted, the cops did nothing about it and told him he was lying and basically tried to get him to shut up at every single turn. And he didn't like that. It's not a way to live your life. When you have been sexually assaulted, telling someone is the scariest thing in the world. And when you finally tell someone about that, you don't expect to be ignored. You don't expect to be told that it doesn't matter. And what are you supposed to do about the person that did it to you? If the public were to go out and get revenge on the people that have wronged them, it would be chaos. And they would probably be the ones to get arrested, because it's always the second person that goes over to get revenge and, oh, they came onto his property, so it's him going to jail. And Dave wouldn't do that. He knew that he would lose by attacking his attacker. And so he tried to ask the cops, and he asked them over and over again. And they threw him in jail for complaining too loudly. And because of that, he lost his toe yesterday. And I asked for it. I would have liked to have it right here to show everybody. He's a fireman. He's been a public servant for years, and he has been let down by this city. And it's pretty darn terrible. But I hope things are changing, and he has said that he can be reached at 313-888-1165 if anybody would like to talk to him while he's recovering. He is very interested in moving forward and trying to get things to work better. Thanks.
Thank you. Okay, any other public comment?
I apologize. I meant to do this during announcements, but this week is National Animal Control Officer Appreciation Week. We've been since 2014 when we reopened, or I'm sorry, yeah, 2015 when we reopened our animal control. We've appreciated them every year. We're members of the National Association, and although this might not hit social media, it's an extended invitation to everybody that's here that tomorrow we have a scheduled open house from 2 to 4. The officers, animal control officers, work very hard. They respond to calls all day. They don't often get a lot of credit for what they do. It can be very dangerous, especially when facing dogs that are on the loose and out of sorts. So tomorrow from 2 to 4, we'll be here at the Ordinance and Animal Control office. We'll have some equipment available so you can see the things that they use on a daily basis. We're going to be ordering some new equipment this year that has to be replaced. So I'm extending an invitation to please come support your animal control officers tomorrow, 2 to 4.
Thank you. Thank you. Any other public comments? Okay. I move to adjourn.
Support.
Supported by Councilman Muscat. Councilman Bazey, move to adjourn. Councilman Muscat, supported. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Meeting's adjourned.
Hello, residents of Dearborn Heights. At last night's city council meeting, the council chairperson refused to allow me to talk and present at last night's meeting the veto that was on the agenda. According to the city charter, section 5.3E, duties of the mayor, and I quote, "He may attend all meetings of the city council with the right to take part in the discussions, but without the right to vote. I was denied the right to participate in the discussions." Consequently, I am now going to present my veto, a part of it, to all of you as residents. I'm going to tell you what some of the council members don't want you to hear. On March 26, 2019, your honorable body approved the resolution entitled, and I quote, "Resolution of the Dearborn Heights City Council to approve contract with the law firm of Ottenwest, Tawal and Shank PLC," end of quote. In accordance with City Charter Section 7.13, I, as mayor, am exercising my power to veto the motion that approved this resolution because it is a political witch hunt that will waste city money and violate the law. My detailed reasons for this veto are as follows. 1, this action by the majority of the city council is a political witch hunt. The political motivations behind the resolution are clear. If the intent of the city council majority was to have an objective financial review done, it would have hired an accounting firm and then wait to see what the accounting firm's review revealed. Yet the city council is hiring a law firm. In doing this, the City Council majority has shown that it could care less about the truth and is simply engaging in a political witch hunt. Normally, if the city wants to hire an accounting firm, the city would just hire the accounting firm directly. But the resolution would have the city hire a law firm who would then subcontract to an accounting firm. Second reason for my veto is this action by the majority of City Council will be a waste of city tax dollars and is likely to become a significant drain on the city budget. The city's attorneys and law firms are generally paid approximately $140 per hour, and the average hourly rate the city pays to Plant Moran PLLC is $168.60 per hour. The council's chair said that the law firm would be paid $250 per hour. The city council majority is paying these inflated rates because it is trying to get some insurance that the firm's giving the city council majority what it wants. In that resolution, the city council majority demanded a forensic audit for the years 2009 through 2018. The waste of the city's tax dollars won't stop at $35,000. It is no exaggeration to estimate the cost of such a forensic audit to be in the millions of dollars. The forensic audit will become immediately a huge drain on our city budget. The third reason for the veto, it seems the law firm was already hired before it was even approved by City Council. Corporation Counsel Gary Miotke contacted both the accounting firm and the law firm. While he did not receive a return call from the accounting firm, he was able to discuss the matter with Mr. Schenck. Mr. Schenck told Mr. Miotke that he would have to discuss this with his client. A client is a party that has already been retained. Fourth reason, moreover, the possibility of abuse is even more of a concern where the city council majority has either failed to do its due diligence or has failed to use common sense. A limited Google search of Mr. Schenck reveals that Mr. Schenck was the focus of one of the biggest scandals in recent Wayne County history. Channel 62, CBS in Detroit, reported in 2013, and I quote, former Wayne County Chief of Staff for Robert Fricano is going to get an annual pension of $96,000 a year for just 8 years of work. Matthew Schenck, 41, has worked for Wayne County for less than 9 years, but will be able to collect an annual pension of over $96,000 when he turns 42 in a few months. End of quote. Hiring an attorney with such a track record, in my estimation, is a huge mistake. Fifth reason, the Riemann Group had a contract to the accounting firm, the Riemann Group, had a contract to extend external audit services with Wayne County during the Facano administration. It also performed audit services for the city of Troy, when the Troy city manager was prosecuted and convicted in federal court for his role in a major bribery scandal. What role did the Riemann Group have in these scandals? Did it fail to discover Mr. Schenck's outrageous pension contract during the Facano administration? Are these the reasons that Mr. Schenck wants to hire the Riemann Group on behalf of the city of Dearborn Heights? Further, what role did the Riemann Group play in the scandal in the city of Troy? Was it competent enough to discover the city manager's criminal activity? Or did it look the other way when the Troy city manager engaged in bribery? If the city council majority had thought this matter through, had done its due diligence, and had used common sense, these are questions it would have asked before even considering their hire in a resolution. That it failed to do so just shows how utterly it failed to protect the residents of the city of Dearborn Heights in approving this resolution. The sixth reason for the veto, the action by the majority of the city council will violate the city charter and other pertinent law. Per Corporation Counsel Gary Miotke, this is the true based on the following reasons. Among many other things, Section 5.13 of the city charter makes the corporation council the legal advisor to the mayor, the city council, and each and every one of the several departments, commissions, boards, administrative office, and other agencies of the city. It also provides for the appointment of corporation counsel, assistant corporation counsels, and special legal counsel. It does not provide for any designated legal counsel to the city council. In the case of Flint versus the Board of Hospital Managers, the Michigan Supreme Court rejected the attempt by the Board of Hospital Managers of the City of Flint to employ its own legal counsel because the duty to advise the board was vested in the City of Flint's attorney by the Flint City Charter. Given City Charter Section 5.13, the same reasoning applies to this attempt to appoint Mr. Shank's law firm as the general legal advisor to the City Council. The resolution violates Section 9.5 of the City Charter. Section 9.5 of the Charter states all contracts prior to submission to the Council shall be reviewed by the mayor. The Council Chair provided me with the law firm's engagement letter on April 2nd, 2019, after the resolution was already approved. If the City Council majority overrides my veto, I fully intend to exercise every legal option available to me. I will refuse to give in to this misguided and illegal political witch hunt. I will refuse to sign any agreement with the law firm of Ottenwest, Towell, and Shank PLC. Further, I shall not authorize any payments to the law firm of Ottenwest, Towell, Shank PLC, or any of its agents. Consistent with the oath that I have taken, I will continue to protect the city, its citizens, and to the very best of my ability. If you as a resident would like a full copy of my particular veto, you can obtain it through two sources. By contacting my office, and we can provide you a hard copy, or you can go on the city website under the city clerk and look at the council agenda, and you can obtain a copy there also. Thank you for listening to my veto.